So this is the game that I've been dying to stream for a very long time. I really can't wait. Or couldn't wait. So I'm gonna guess that absolutely nobody got those credits. It's okay. Yeah, I've always really liked how in the 2000s they would have and they did this in the 90s as well. I think this style kind of started in 1990, around 1995, and proceeded well into the mid 2000s, and it didn't really quite stop until the later 2000s when music became more in line with what you would hear on more in line with what you would hear on what's it called, movies. Yeah, everybody wanted to be more cinematic. I honestly think games lost out a lot on that. Give me 1 second, I'll be right back. Alright, sorry for that. Anyway, I like how it would anyway, the music. I like how the music would always start out atmospheric, but then it would just go into that weird that weird drum solo. That's a little bit too loud. No, I want to keep it stereo. Still a little bit too loud. Is the music just too loud? I'd say it's okay, it's not a big deal, it's not that loud. Anyway, I've been really looking forward to streaming this game. I played through the start a little bit just to make sure it works, but I didn't get that far. She's honestly taking this pretty well.
Huey.
This is a much more artsy game than Kuon. Much more artsy. I have to be perfectly honest, I am really thankful it didn't start us out in that Diablo Butcher dungeon, where I'm really, really far away. I just want to put the terrible things I saw back there behind me. I am not going back. See, you put that giant red pot in front of me and you expect me to not be interested in it. Large tree is sprawled out here. And you saw the dog earlier. I'm gonna spoil something for you really quick. Yes, you are required to, you will have a chance to, get to play with the dog, and you are not only, allowed to play with the dog, you are required to play with the dog if you want, everything to turn out well. There's a hole here, but it's far too small for me. It is not. You were like... You're 5 feet tall at best, and I'm gonna put you at 110 pounds. Tops. I would not be surprised if you're under three digits. I think the controls are a little bit different compared to Kuon, but it still has press to run, which I'm used to by this point. Empty cages litter the area. Maybe this was some kind of kennel for keeping animals. Well, let's hope it was animals. Bunnies? And it's gone. I've never had a bunny lets me that close. What's this? You've obtained chamomile. I think that's our health herb. This door has been boarded up, probably for a good reason. It's cute, they have little bunnies living in the bushes. Such a large door, what could be on the other side? Keep pressing the wrong button because I'm used to running in Kuon. Pretty skillful wrapping that up so that she can run with both hands free. Let's see what's waiting for us up here. I think there's only one area we can access. I wonder what kind of room is on the other side. I can see lights flicker from candles inside, but it is too dark to see anything else. I think it wants us to enter from there. I can't remember. It's okay, we have plenty of time to explore. Do not want to go there just yet. More of these weird red pots. What kind of room is on the other side? Can't access yet. Bolted shut from the other side, can't open. Alright, let's go up to that room already. Is select inventory here as well? Can't just walk around all day with these sheets around me. Call me old-fashioned, but I would prefer a normal set of clothes to these bed sheets. Probably wasn't much left of your clothing if you were in a car accident. Yeah, they're not gonna let us explore anymore until we find some clothing.
I've gathered some clothes for you. Wait! Don't go. Excuse me, but where are we? And how did I get here?
Yes, Master. We will keep her here for a while. I will make sure she stays comfortable.
Alright, since she's being so uptight about walking around in bed sheets, can't imagine why. Let's put on some clothes. There's a change of clothes that maid has apparently laid out. Change clothes? Yes! Yes, put on some clothing. I would put the sheet over the painting, though. Oh, there you go. Now you're some guy's anime dream girl. You're gonna make him very happy until you show signs of aging, and he's gonna get weird. Yeah, I wouldn't look at that again.
Wait a minute. I remember being in the car with...
That's worked, but now what should I do? If I could just find a map of this place, then I can get my bearings. Additional actions. You are now able to perform additional actions. New actions in the game. Square button. Kick. Use this to smash certain background objects or to stun some enemies. Triangle. Throw set. Throw some objects after equipping them or place them down on the ground. L1. Crouch. Crouch button. Use, well, what when you crouch? Use maneuver to crouch down in the shadows and make it harder for your enemies to find you. R1. Backstep. It's like Dark Souls. Quickly jump backward to avoid the enemy's attack. You use this maneuver too much and your stamina will decrease. Yeah, again, like Dark Souls. Push background objects. Some background objects can be moved by pushing the left analog stick or directional buttons in the direction of the object you want to move. Charge. After running for a few seconds, press square to tackle an enemy. If you are able to hit an enemy with this move, you can shove them out of your way, but you will lose a large amount of stamina in the process. Nice. Can I looks more like their purpose. Looks like their purpose is more one of decoration than actually weighing things. Oh, I mean, if it's functional, you can use it for that. This TV works. Nope. What? They say that bisque dolls are supposedly designed with a specific model in mind. If that is the case, then who's this doll designed after? The man pictured here has a noble air about him. I wonder how long ago that this portrait was painted. Check out this creepy-ass portrait. What a wonderful piece of art. The eyes really feel like they are peering deep into one's soul. The fire burns, emitting a red glow. The room is heated to a comfortable temperature. Wonder whose portrait this is. A chest used to store clothes. Nothing in the bedstand. Freshly starched and pressed sheets and bed covers now line the bed. Oh, come on, Fiona. It's not like you're going to find the boogeyman under there. I don't know. With this place, that's a distinct possibility. Okay, first let's go outside and check the area out, see if I'm able to go out. Yes, I am. Okay, first things first, let's destroy some private property. What's this? You've obtained magnesia. Not sure if there's anything there right now. Nothing yet. What's this? Medallion. It's not gonna do anything. Where am I? I was in the car with my parents, and it's no good. Everything seems so fuzzy. I guess she is one of the maids working here. She's so beautiful, almost too beautiful. It almost seems unnatural. It feels almost like it was custom tailored to fit me. It really clings to my shape quite nicely, although it feels a little tight in the chest area. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Okay, not much else we can do right now. Can we enter here now? Yes, we can. So yeah, unlike Kuon, we're even more useless than Utsuki in combat. So whereas Utsuki could at least hold her own, I don't think Fiona is going to be quite as capable, unfortunately. Is this blood? Okay, so apparently there's a freak-out mechanic. Or I can psych myself out. I don't want to go down the scary hallway just yet. Door's locked from the other side. I am not wanted there right this at this time. Library. Really nice one. A massive book stands stalwart. It looks quite old. Maybe it's an antique. You want? Can we read it? Not to state the obvious, but this is clearly the castle's study. You've obtained lavender. Luminescence. Luminescents are tiny creatures that respond to the ethereal energies given off by Azoth. They can be used to track down nearby Azoth. However, several precautions must be taken while handling them. 1. When luminescents come into direct contact with an Azoth-infused item or being, they send forth a small charge which shocks the carrier. The higher the concentration of Azoth in said carrier, the greater and more powerful the shock. 2. Luminescence lifespan is dramatically decreased whenever they come into direct contact with the open air. This time differs from specimen to specimen, but it is never much longer than a few minutes. Luminescence, Azoth, no clue what any of this means. Desk is locked. It's almost as if somebody was sure that a random teenage girl was gonna just root around all their stuff after they woke up. Nice skull doll. Looks like he wants you to be his doll. What should I do? If I don't do something, that thing will get me. Evasion points. Press circle when near closets or beds to hide and escape at enemies that pursue you. While hiding, Fiona's stamina recovers at an accelerated rate and her panic decreases at an increased speed. Also press the circle button once more while hiding to exit the evasion point at any time. If you approach a possible evasion point while being pursued by an enemy, the word "wait a second, what is that?" will be displayed. This is a hint that means there's an evasion point nearby. However, be warned that if you repeatedly hide in the same location over and over again, the enemy will soon catch wind of your hiding spot. Wonder if he can see me. Okay, good. Well, maybe if he had any inclination of protecting this girl, I would probably keep my whatever that guy was. good distance away. You obtained Bisque Doll. Oh, I have his toy. Nothing unusual. Oh, that's blood. Let's see what's in here. It's a nice, weird-ass suit of armor. A huge doll made of earth blocks the door. There's a slot-shaped hole in its chest. There's some kind of file here. It'd be nice if I could, read it first. I have to get away, but where to? Well, we found it. A deciphering of the Book of Origins, Seferu Yetira, has uncovered the process for creating life from earth soil. This golem needs not nourishment nor sleep, making this earthen guardian the ultimate safekeeper of our deepest alchemic secrets and knowledge. I dub this creature Emeth. Good to know. What kind of equipment is this? It looks old, but someone has taken painstakingly good care of it. He's gonna be really mad when he finds out you smashed up all his pots. Mainly because he was clearly distilling something. It's a tremendous heat, so with heat like this, I'm sure it's used for refining. I have to be perfectly honest, Fiona is taking this very, very well. Okay, let's look at our items. Chamomile. Type of herb. Completely restores lost stamina. Magnesia. Created by polishing extracted magnesium ore. This item is used by setting it on the ground. If an enemy runs over the magnesia, it will explode and do damage to them. Medallion. Medal used during the alchemic refining process. Your basic run-of-the-mill alchemic component. Lavender. A type of herb. Slowly reduces panic. Bisque Doll. Debilitus. Debilitus. Yes. What am I gonna name my ogre? I'm gonna name him Debilitus, like debilitated. Because I'm a jerk. Favorite plaything. It is coated with caked-on dirt and gives off quite the pungent odor. Oh, I'm sure. That's little skull face too. Just had to answer a text from my roommate. Okay, so it looks like, I mean, we're not... I wonder if we can use it. Can't use this here. Okay, so I don't think it wants us to use it right now. That's always nice when there's just blood spatter everywhere. Don't... I thought I heard a cat. I'm definitely hearing a cat. That's the busted up chandelier. If there was a cat, that ogre guy probably would have eaten it by now. Debilitus. A woman with wings protruding from her back. An angel, perhaps? I recognize that painting, but I'm not... I can't remember what it is. I can't remember whether it's... Because it reminds me of the painting for the French Revolution, Liberty, but that woman wasn't an angel. She was just a peasant. Alright, what stupid shit am I gonna find on this? Oh, wow. Okay, this isn't too bad. It's just messed up. It is completely ruined. What could have happened here? Is this a bird cage? It looks like the remaining husk of a bird in the cage. It's really sad.
It's not a computer, that's for sure. It has alphabetic keys, though.
You obtained gig-plated key. Well, that's nice. What do I do with it? Special gig-plated key. A thin metallic plate with letters carved into it. I wonder if I can use this again. What was the name of that stupid thing? MF. I thought that was for saving. Oh wait, no. It's probably a really bad idea, but, you know. Whatever mechanism moved it seems to have run its course. I think it's here to stay. That's really sad. It just moved into the corner and is now just gonna stare at the stone wall for all eternity. Okay, so before I go down there... I wonder what would have happened if you gave it the wrong name. Like, it either... maybe it wouldn't have reacted, maybe it would have killed you. Who knows? I wonder if I can go down here. I can go down here. Door's locked from the other side, not surprising. This antimony powder. Forgot what the real or rather what the modern word for that. A hardened clump of antimony powder. Throw it and it explodes on impact. Its attack power is weak, but it can stun enemies for a short period of time. Sounds like a good thing to equip. Actually... This would probably be a good time to actually check the manual to make sure that it didn't replace my kick the way it did with Kuon, because Kuon seems to have forgotten that there are several buttons available. Okay, L2 not used, LR2 not used. Okay, so triangle I think is throw the item. Yeah, I'm gonna unequip it because I know for a fact I'm going to hit something by accident. Also, I need to, I definitely need to set up a progressive scan because this video quality is okay, but could be better. Let's see. Because I know I'm gonna hit it by accident and just throw it away, and I still haven't Still haven't found a map. Still haven't. Way behind it. I'm glad I went down there. It's actually probably going to be very useful. Okay, back to what I was doing before. I honestly thought those two shadows were, that shadow casting from the chair was more blood. She seems cool about the smear of blood right in front of this door, but she's not feeling great about the blood on the column. Hope you know how to use ladders. How do I get that? Yeah, she's not saying anything about it. I'm not sure if there's a way to get that right now. She doesn't even acknowledge it. That's unfortunate. Sure, it's something marginally useful. Nothing here except this weird bench facing the wrong way. This bench is situated so it is facing the wall. No one can use it like this. yeah, that's something I noticed too. Looks like an old well or something. The opening has been sealed up with a wooden board. Magnesia. Before I go back into the castle, I want to see if there's anything that triggers her mentioning of what's up there. Oh, if that's the key up there. Crouch evasion. In addition to evasion points, you can avoid enemies by pressing the L1 button near a shadow. Also, if an enemy is nearby while you are crouching, the camera will change to a first-person perspective so that you can watch the enemy as they search around. Utilize this ability if an enemy is chasing you and you happen upon a nearby shadow. Yeah, I was about to say this, this seems perfect for, This seems perfect for hiding. I honestly thought that it was going to be somebody who's gonna jump into the barrel. But I was wrong. trying to find a saving because I haven't gotten a... Yep, nothing in the manual. I think it's automatic. I'm not planning on going right now, but I want to make sure I know. Oh, that's silly. Yeah, apparently you save with the clocks. Sounds like something that would be useful in the manual, but apparently it's not in there, but I'll have another look.
Ah, Fiona. I see you finally awakened. There's something that I've wanted to show you for quite some time. Pull away that sheet behind you.
Seems unpleasant.
Beautiful, isn't it? That, my dear, is what you will become in the future. Go ahead. You may touch it. You will be mine, Fiona.
Why would anyone in their right mind put something like this here? Well, they're not in their right mind. Garden key. Wealth of information right before your fingertips. A lot of the book seems to be on the subject of music. Clearly doesn't care for me to go there. Bookshelf of fine design that has a rather sturdy look to it. I kicked right through it. It wasn't affected. It's not sturdy, it's just impervious. This harp is large and bulky. Hard to imagine people actually playing these things. The gate is closed. There's no way through. I'm going to have to find another way. I'd say the chances are I'm going to run into something stupid back here. Your average run-of-the-mill key. This key gives you entry inside the castle through the garden. Luminescence. Luminescents are tiny creatures that feverishly pursue Fiona once they caught wind of her. When the luminescent makes contact with Fiona, it not only puts her into a state of panic, but it also ruptures, producing a sound which attracts unwanted attention of nearby enemies. Luminescents do fade over time, but the most effective way to rid yourself of these troublesome creatures is to reach a neighboring area and close the door. Doing so cuts off the luminescent sensing ability and stops them dead in their tracks. Done. Why in the world is there a chair here? It's just a normal chair, right? It's probably a waiting area. Accidentally activated something. The clock etches out moments in time. Save game. Apparently you could have done this earlier. Yes, create new file, please. Please select data set. Oh, we have a lot of spots. Felt a heartbeat here earlier. What? There is no knob. What do I do? Wait, there is a hook here. Maybe if I attach something to it. Could use that in place of a doorknob. I don't understand. Why don't you just pull on the hook? What does this do? There's something strange about this part of the floor. The words pupacella or pupacella are written here. Puppet room. I believe that is what it means. So why can't we just take the chair and... Can I not close the door behind me now? Because I would like to do that, honestly. Ah, time for some food. Obtained chicken jerky. Looks like meat is being served. It appears they still haven't finished preparing it. The sink looks rusted in several spots. A thick reddish-black discoloration cakes the surface. That's pretty gross. There's nothing on the pots. Very ornate high-class china lines the shelf. Why there's that many candlesticks on this table? Because whoever owns this place is out of touch with reality. I think I saw something on the other side. Cracked plate key. Thin metallic plate with letters carved into it. Can't tell if that's blood or just the weird design of the carpet. Yeah, there's something running on the other side. I'm gonna leave it be for now. Not going to bother with that just yet. This plywood panel door is blocking my path, but it could be broken through easily enough. There we go. Obtained castle sketch. Finally have a map. Or maybe not. A hand-drawn sketch of the Belly Castle. A section of the rooms in the basement have been colored in red. Chicken jerky. I think this is what I'm going to be feeding to the dog. Probably. Chicken that has been slowly deep smoked over time restores a small amount of a dog's stamina. It's also going to really like you. Fiona, do you think there's anything gonna be good over there? I get to do this again. Pick your ass up, Fiona. seems so disappointed.
I am Ricardo, keeper of the castle. So sorry to hear about your accident. Your parents. As Master Ugo and Mistress Ayla are both deceased, you, Miss Fiona, are the sole surviving heir of Belly Castle. Are you in pain, miss? Will you be alright? You've had a long day. Please, rest upstairs. Your bed has been prepared.
This isn't real. It's just a dream. This can't be happening to me. It can't be. Oh.
We have to help the dog. Unforgivable. A wire is bound to the poor animal. It's digging deeply into the dog's neck.
Go now, and don't get caught this time. Go.
I can't believe there are people out there that would do this to a poor helpless animal. And that man, so big and freaky. I just want to get out of this nightmare as soon as I can. Can I take the wire? There's a thick wire encircling the trunk of the tree. Oh, can I get it? Because, like, the wire would be useful. I want the wire. Where'd Huey go? Okay, so the basement is definitely off limits. She does not want to be anywhere near the cage. Still inaccessible. I wonder if I can just kick it open. What's this big ass gate? The hinges are rusted solid. Try as I may, I can't open this door. So about that weird tattoo that you have. She's probably not even aware of it. Did you forget to use your legs? Get up! Push up and on the right analog stick to command the dog attack.
Thank you. You saved me. Come here. Come on, boy. What's your name? Huey? So you're Huey. Well, hi, Huey.
Additional dog commands. Huey has befriended you. Give him various commands via the right analog stick. Up command, normal, search the surrounding matter, battle mode, attack. When biting enemy, press up to urge Huey on, increasing the amount of time he bites at an enemy. uh. Down commands, normal mode, call Huey to your side while biting enemy. Press down to stop Huey from biting the enemy. Left command, scold. If Huey begins to act disobediently, scold him for his actions. This will have an effect on how Huey responds to you. Praise. If Huey is especially responded to a command or does something that is praiseworthy, then praise his actions. This will have an effect on how Huey responds to you. Also, praise Huey while nearby, and he will slightly regain some stamina. R3 button. Normal mode. Command Huey to sit and stay in that location. Battle mode. Order Huey to wait. This increases Huey's attack power temporarily. Sometimes, depending on circumstances, Huey may ignore certain commands. In those instances, try approaching Huey and reissuing a command while you are standing next to him. If timed right, scold commands can be effective in these situations. Let's see, let's look through it. Dog. I like how the command is just dog. Or the file name. See that again. Let's try praising him, I guess.
Good boy.
This is...
Go, Huey.
Oh, you found something.
Good boy.
Yes, I do want... After all that, I definitely do want to save.
Come on.
Birdcage. Right now, there's nothing inside it.
Go, Huey.
Wait, boy, where are you going? That clacking really does sound like a dog. I like that. Looks like there's something up there. Oh, I thought we were gonna send the dog. But Fiona is actually going to do something.
Go, Huey.
Broken marionette. Its strings have been cut in various places, rendering the puppet unusable.
Huey.
More medallions. Yeah, we're not going anywhere. Found something? Come on, I want to tell you what a good boy you are.
Good boy.
Probably for the best that it's locked up for now. Wait, but we can go back down and to that hole because Huey is small. I think Huey is actually bigger than her. He's just slightly smaller than her. Wait, what is that? Is there any way to climb up there? Fountain, Looks like it is quite the antique. I don't think there's any way to get up there right now.
Go, Huey.
Huey, where'd you go?
Come on. Go, Huey.
It's a really smart dog.
Good boy.
A ball! What do we do with it? This handy ball can be used for us playing simple games with canine companions. Okay, well let's wait until we're in a safer place, not in the graveyard. Oh, these are my parents, aren't they?
Go, Huey.
And just rusted solid. You're okay. Beef jerky. Beef jerky in the ancient urn. This creepy sacrifice-looking place. There's gotta be more here. Oh, these are training dummies. let's try this. Hold on, I want to that's cool. Yeah, it looks like it has to be a pretty good distance to pick up enough momentum.
Huey.
Did you get lost? You got lost, didn't you? Get over here.
Huey.
Come on, do you want to play ball or not?
Come on. Go, Huey. Go, Huey.
Do you not want the ball? Can I not pick it up now?
Go, Huey. Come on.
All right. Well, I'm clearly missing something. I thought I'd be able to just pick it up, but apparently not.
Huey.
Pick up the ball. Come on, get the ball.
Go Huey. Go Huey.
Come on, you're looking right at it. Come on, pick it up.
Go Huey. Sit. Good boy.
Is it back in my inventory? It is back in my inventory. Oops, almost kicked Huey. He's like, please don't kick me. Well, I don't know about haunting ground, but that's clearly a training ground. Can I do anything around here? No dogs allowed.
Go Huey.
Huey's kind of a doofus right now. He needs more training.
Go Huey.
What's cool? You get a little area to
Come on.
you get a little area to train your dog. Can I pick up this pot? Oh yeah, it's not a pot. Those are just flowers. I was about to say it's a strange place to put a pot. Hey, Huey. Yeah, he does not like the wire tree. He does not want to go back there. We explored all we could back here. I'm gonna kick Huey by accident one day, and I'm gonna feel really bad.
Go, Huey. Stop. Stay. Come on. Come on.
Come on, Huey, we have to go and explore this place again. So what was going on here? Still haven't cleaned up the blood, huh? I'm guessing they're planning to never get around to that. Various formula and computations have been scribbled on the desktop. This goes way beyond something you would learn at the college level. Oh hey Huey, I don't remember you following me there. Metallic plate that has been broken in half. The letters ST are carved into the plate.
Go, Huey.
Huey's like, what do you want me to do? I'm a dog. I can't use the ladder.
Huey.
That's not where I wanted to go. I actually wanted to go into the basement. I don't know why I went out here. ST. A large tapestry is suspended here. I wonder if this is an embroidery of one of the castle's many crests. Probably. You okay?
Good boy.
Ah, somebody mostly normal. Get the feeling that Huey does not like her, and she probably likes Huey even less, unless it's for preparing him for meat. It's, just let her do her thing. Stre. I have an idea. I have to go back upstairs and remake this busted key. Come on, I need you right here on my... Damn it, Huey.
Come on.
Come on, Huey.
Come on. Come on.
Come on, doofus. And you just stand right here.
Sit.
Take it.
Come on. Sit.
No!
Huey.
Well, you did do exactly like I asked you to do, so I can't punish you for that. Come on, I need you to stand where I'm standing. Come on, Huey, I know you can do it.
Sit.
I'm actually gonna stop right now. I think I need to train this dog a little bit better. I need to... Ow. I'm pretty sure that it's inside that the puppets room. But I also need to find out a few other things because I'm sure there's little nuances about this game that would make it much easier than if I just figured them out on my own. Like, for instance, the way to use weapons in Kuon is not made immediately obvious, and I'm not sure if it mentions it in the manual, but timing the double strike that you can do greatly makes it much easier to fight. I am planning to stream this some more. I'm thinking about switching my stream schedule a little bit. Maybe Friday, Saturday, Sunday sorts of deal. There's no reason why I can't do that right now. Anyway, I'm gonna post this, and I'm finally over this weekends. I want to focus on cleaning up the channel and spamming some more notifications that I can that I'm streaming this, because I think this is a fun game to stream. I really wish I got a lot of these games back when they came out. This is really fun. This Kuon is fun. This is really fun. I played a little bit of Rule of Rose. It's not quite clicking with me, mostly because it's really difficult to see. But I think I have a component connector for the PS2, and I'm gonna try using that. If it does, I remember I stopped using it because it didn't play well with my capture card, but I'm gonna see if that's changed at all for one reason or another. Anyway, thank you for watching. I will be back probably. Oh, you know what? You know what we haven't done in a while? We haven't done any reading. We haven't done any reading, and I promised I was gonna do reading. I think this is decent background music. Let's set it to max so that you can actually hear it, say, behind here. Otherwise, it's super loud. How long is this section? Oh, this section's really short. We can probably go through it too. We're reading Gormenghast, by the way. 10 pages? Yeah, we can blow through that. In a lime green light. Even in his note, by the way, yes, there is a purpose for this. This is because I have not been doing a lot of reading aloud, or reading for that matter. And this is something we definitely need to improve. First, let me add that component cable. I think I know where that component cable is. I haven't done any fetching for a while. I think it's components, not composite, but I can't remember anything. Okay. Anyway, in the lime green light. Even in his nausea, he could not help wondering what it was that Abiatha Swelter was doing. He raised his head from the wall and brought it by degrees to its former position. This time Flay was surprised to find that the room appeared empty, but with a start at its dreadful nearness, he found that the chef was sitting on a bench against the wall and immediately below him. It was not easy to see him clearly through the filth and cobwebs of the window, but the great pasty dome of his head, surrounded by the lamp-tinted whiteness of his swollen clothes, seemed, when Flay located them, almost at arm's length. This proximity injected into Flay's bones a sensation of exquisite horror. He stood fascinated at the pulpy baldness of the chef's cranium as he stared a portion of its pale plush contracted in a spasm, dislodging an October fly. Nothing else moved. Mr. Flay's eyes shifted for a moment as he saw a grindstone against the wall opposite. Beside it, a wooden stool. To his right, he saw two boxes placed about 4 feet apart. On either side of these wooden boxes, two chalk lines ran roughly parallel to each other and passed laterally along the room below Mr. Flay. Nearing the left-hand wall of the room, they turned to the right, keeping the same space between them, but in their new direction they could not proceed for more than a few feet before being obstructed by the wall. At this point, something had been written between them, in chalk, and an arrow pointed towards the wall. The writing was hard to read, but after a moment Flay deciphered it as, "To the 9th stairs." This reading of the chalk came as a shock to Mr. Flay, if only for the reason that the 9th stairs were those by which Lord Sepulchrave's bedroom was reached from the floor below. His eyes returned swiftly to the rough globe of a head beneath him, but there was still no movement except perhaps the slight vibration of the chef's breathing. Flay turned his eyes again to the right where the two boxes were standing, and he now realized that they represented either a door or an entrance of some sort from which led this chalked passageway before it turned to the right in the direction of the 9th stairs. But it was upon a long sack which had first failed to attract his attention that he now focused his eyes. It lay as though curled up immediately between and a little in advance of the two boxes. As he scrutinized it, something terrified him, something nameless, and which he had not yet time to comprehend, but something from which he recoiled. A movement below him plucked his eyes from the sack, and a huge shape arose. It moved across the room, the whiteness of the enveloping clothes tinctured by the lime green lamp above. It sat beside the grindstone. In its It held in its hand what seemed, in proportion to its bulk, a small weapon, but which was in reality a two-handed cleaver. Swelter's feet began to move the treadles of the grindstone. I've never heard that it's a. I didn't know that's. Okay, anyway, the treadles of the grindstone, and it began to spin in its circles. He spat upon it rapidly 3 or 4 times in succession. It's pretty gross. And with a quick movement slid the already razor-keen edge of the cleaver across the whir of the stone. Doubling himself over the grindstone, he peered at the shivering edge of the blade, and every now and then lifted it to his ear as though to listen for a thin and singing note to take flight from the unspeakable sharpness of the steel. He again bent to his task and continued whetting the blade for several minutes before listening once more to the invisible edge. Flay began to lose contact with the reality of what he saw, and his brain to drift into a dream. And he found that the chef was drawing himself upwards and traveling to a part of the wall where the chalk lines ended and where the arrow pointed to the 9th staircase. Then he removed his shoes and lifted his face for the first time so that Mr. Flay could see the expression that seeped from it. His eyes were metallic and murderous, but the mouth hung open in a wide, fatuous smile. Then followed what appeared to Flay an extraordinary dance, a grotesque ritual of the legs, and it was some time before he realized, as the cooks advanced by slow, elaborate steps between the chalk lines, that he was practicing tiptoeing with absolute silence. What's he practicing for, thought Flay, watching the intense and painful concentration which Swelter moved forward step by step, the cleaver shining in his right hand. Flay glanced again at the chalk arrow. He's come from the 9th staircase. He's turned left down the worn passage. There's no rooms right or left in the worn passage. I ought to know. He's approaching the room. In the darkness, Flame turned as white as death. The 2 boxes could only represent one thing: the doorposts of Lord Sepulchre's bedroom, and the sack. He watched the chef approach the symbol of himself asleep outside his master's room, curled up as he always was. By now the tardiness of the approach was unendingly slow. The feet in their thick soles would descend an inch at a time, and as they touched the ground, the figure cocked his head of lard upon one side, and his eyes rolled upwards as he listened for his own footfall. When within 3 feet of the sack, the chef raised the cleaver in both hands, and with his legs wide apart to give him a broader area of balance, edged his feet forward, one after another, in little, noiseless shiftings. He had now judged the distance between himself and the sleeping emblem of his hate. Flay shut his eyes as he saw the cleaver rise in the air above the cumulus shoulder, and the steel flared in the green light. When he opened his eyes again, Abiathas Swelter was no longer by the sack, which appeared to be exactly as he had seen it. He was at the chalk arrow again and creeping forward as before. The horror that had held Flay was aggravated by the question that had entered his mind. How did Swelter know that he had slept with his chin at his knees? How did Swelter know his head always pointed to the east? Had he been observing during his sleeping hours? Flay pressed his face to the window for the last time. The dreadful repetition of the same murderous tiptoeing journey towards the sack struck such a blow at the very center of his nervous control that his knees gave way and he sank to his haunches on the barrel and wiped the back of his hand across his forehead. Suddenly his only thought was of escape from a region of the castle that could house such a fiend, to escape from that window of green light, and scrambling from the cask, he stumbled into the mist-filled darkness and, never turning his head again to the scene of horror, made tracks for the archway from whence he had deviated so portentously from his course. Once within the building, he made discreetly for the main stairs and with gigantic paces climbed like a mantis to the floor in which Nanny Slag's room was situated. It was some time before he came to her door, for the west wing in which she lived was on the opposite side of the building and necessitated a detour through many halls and corridors. She was not in her room, and so he went at once to Lady Fuchsia's, where he had surmised he found her sitting by the fire with little of the deference which he felt she should display in front of his lordship's daughter. It was when he had knocked at the door of the room with the knuckly single rap that he had wakened Fuchsia from his sleep and startled the old nurse. Before he had knocked on the panels, he had stood several minutes recovering his composure as best he could. In his mind emerged the picture of himself striking Swelter across the face with the chain, long ago as it seemed to him now in the cool room. For a moment he started sweating again and wiped his hands down the sides before he entered. His throat felt very dry even before noticing Lady Fuchsia and the nurse. He had seen the tray. That was what he wanted, something to drink. He left the room with a steadier step, and saying that he could await Miss Slagintitus under the archway and escort her to the library, he left them. My throat is a little bit parched right now, so I have several more pages for the next section, and after that, I'm probably going to stop. Be right back. I like these games that I play have the perfect background sounds for these this book that I'm reading. Say we are probably halfway done with the first book, and it's a single compilation. Say we're about a sixth of the way through it. Anyway. Reintroducing the twins. At the same moments that Flay was leaving Fuchsia's bedroom, Steerpike was pushing back his chair from the supper table at the Prune Squallers, where he had enjoyed, along with the doctor and his sister Irma, a very tender chicken, a salad, and a flask of red wine, and now the black coffee awaiting them on the little table by the fire. They were preparing to take up warmer and more permanent stations. Steerpike was the first to rise as he sidled around the table in time to remove the chair from behind Miss Prunesqualler and to assist her to her feet. She was perfectly able to take care of herself. In fact, she had been doing it for years. But she leaned on his arm as she slowly assumed the vertical. She was swathed to her ankles in maroon-colored lace. That her gowns should cling to her as though they were an extra layer of skin to her was a salient point, in spite of the fact that of all people that it was for her to hide those angular outcrops of bone with which nature had endowed her, and which, in the case of the majority of women, are modified by a considerate layer of fat. I like that he did this. I like that Mervyn Peake did that. Usually when talking about female characters, male writers tend to do this, but this is the most interesting way I've ever read of a woman's body being described. Usually just mentions curves and hips and breasts and everything. This one she's just bones with some fat on it. Anyway, her hair was drawn back from her brow with an even finer regard for symmetry than on the night when Steerpike had first seen her. And the knots of grey twine, which formed a culmination as hard as a boulder, a long way down the back of her neck, and not a single hair out of place. The doctor had himself noticed that she was spending more and more time on her toilette, although it had all times proved one of her most absorbing occupations. A paradox to the doctor's mind which delighted him, for his sister was, even in his fraternal eyes, cruelly laden with the family features. I'm guessing there's a lot of incest going on with, or incestuous matches made with these families, so they probably don't look too great. Probably not very healthy. As she approached her chair to the left of the fire, Steerpike removed his hand from her elbow and, shifting back to the doctor's chair with his foot while Prunesqualler was drawing the blinds, pulled forward the sofa into a more favorable position in front of the fire. "They don't meet," I said. "They don't meet," said Irma Prunesqualler, pouring out the coffee. How she could see anything at all, let alone whether they met or not, through her dark glasses was a mystery. Dr. Prunesqualler, already on his back to his chair on the padded arms on which his coffee was balanced, stopped and folded his hands to his chin. "To what are you alluding, my dear? Are you speaking of a brace of spirits? Ha ha ha! Twin souls searching for a I'm doing these laughs the best I can, by the way. Searching for a consummation, each in the other? Ha ha! Ha ha ha! Or are you making reference to matters more terrestrial? Enlighten me, my love." "Nonsense," said his sister. "Look at the curtains," I said. "Look at the curtains." Dr. Prunesqualler swung about. "To me," he said, "they look exactly like curtains. In fact, they are curtains, both of them. A curtain on the left, my love, and a curtain on the right. Ha ha! I'm absolutely certain they are." Irma, hoping that Steerpike was looking at her, laid down her coffee cup. "What happens in the middle?" I said. "What happens right down the middle?" Her pointed nose warmed, for she sensed victory. "There is a great yearning one for the other. A fissure of impalpable night that divides them, Irma, my dear sister. There is a lacuna." "Then kill it," said Irma, sank back into her chair. She glanced at Steerpike, but he had apparently taken no notice of the conversation, and she was disappointed. He was leaning back into one corner of the couch, his legs crossed, his hands curled around the coffee cup as though to feel its warmth, and his eyes were peering into the fire. He was evidently far away. When the doctor had joined the curtains together with great deliberation and stood back to assure himself that the knight was satisfactorily excluded from the room, he seated himself, but no sooner. But no sooner had he done so than there was a jangling at the doorbell, which continued until the cook had scraped the pastry from his hands, removed his apron, and made his way to the front door. Two female voices were speaking at the same time. Only for a moment, they said. Just passing, on our way home, only for a moment. Tell him we won't stay. No, of course not, we won't stay. Of course not. Oh no, yes, just a twinkling, only a twinkling. But for the fact that it would have been impossible for one voice to wedge so many words into so short a space of time and to speak so many of them simultaneously, it would have been difficult to believe that it was not the voice of a single individual. So continuous and uniform appeared the flat contour of the sound. Prune Squalor cast his hands to the ceiling, and behind the convex lenses of his spectacles, his eyes revolved in their orbits. The voices that Steerpike now heard in the passage were unfamiliar to the quick ear. Since he had been with the Prune Squallers, he had taken advantage of all his spare time and had, he thought, run to earth all the main figures of Gormenghast. There were few secrets hidden from him, for he had scavenger-like faculty of acquiring unashamedly from an infinite variety of sources, snatches of knowledge from which he kept neatly at the back of his brain and used to his own advantage as opportunity offered. Gotta take a drink. When the twins, Cora and Clarice, entered the room together, he wondered whether the red wine had gone to his head. He had neither seen them before nor anything like them. They were dressed in their inevitable purple. Dr. Prunesqualler bowed elegantly. "Your ladyships," he said, "we are more than honored. We are really very much more than honored." Ha ha ha! He winked his appreciation. "Come right along, my dear ladies. Come right the way in. Irma, my dear, we have been doubly lucky in our privileges. Why doubly, you say to yourself? Why doubly? Because, oh sister, they have both come. Ha ha ha! Very much so, very much so." Prune Squalor, who knew from experience that only a fraction of what anyone said ever entered the brains of the twins, permitted himself a good deal of latitude in his conversation, mixing with a certain sycophancy remarks for his own amusement, which could never have been made to persons more astute than the twins. Irma had come forward, her iliac crest reflecting a streak of light. "Very charmed, your ladyships," I said. I said, "Very, very charmed." She attempted to curtsy, but her dress was too tight. "You know, my sister, of course. Will you have coffee?" "Of course you will. With a little wine? Naturally. For what would you prefer? Or what would you prefer?" Both the doctor and his sister found that the ladies, Cora and Clarice, had not been paying the slightest attention, but had been staring at Steerpike more in the manner of a wall staring at a man than a man staring at a wall. I'm starting to think these two women are not very intelligent. Steerpike, in a well-cut uniform of black cloth, advanced to the sisters and bowed. "Your ladyships," he said. "I am delighted to have the honor of being beneath the same roof. It is an intimacy that I shall never forget." And then, as though he were ending a letter, "I am your very humble servant," he added. Clarice turned herself to Cora, but kept her eyes on Steerpike. "He says he is glad he's under the same roof as us," she said. "Under the same roof?" echoed Cora. "He's very glad of it." "Why?" said Clarice emptily. "What difference does it make about the roof?" "It couldn't make any difference whatever the roof's like," said her sister. "I like roofs," said Clarice. "They are something I like more than most things because they are on the top of houses they cover, and Cora and I like being over the tops of things because we love power, and that's why we are both fond of roofs." "That's why," Cora continued. "That's the reason. Anything that's on top of someone something else is what we like, unless it is someone we don't like who's on top of something we are pleased with, like ourselves. We are not allowed to be on top, except that is our own room is high, oh so high up in the castle wall, with our tree, our own tree that grows from the castle wall, with our tree, our own tree that grows from the wall. That is so much more important than anything Gertrude has. Oh yes, said Clarice. She hasn't anything as important as that. But she steals our birds. She turned her expressionless eyes to Cora, who met them as though she were her sister's reflection. It may be that between them they recognized shades of expression in each other's faces, but it is certain that no one else, however keen his eyesight, could have detected the slightest change in the muscles that presumably governed the lack of expressions of their faces. Evidently, this reference to stolen birds was the reason why they came nearer to each other so that their shoulders touched. It was obvious that their sorrow was conjoined. Dr. Prunesqualler had, during all this, been trying to shepherd them into the chairs by the fire, but to no avail. They had no thought for others in when their minds were occupied. The room, the persons around them ceased to exist. They had only enough room for one thought at a time. I'm guessing amongst each other, so maybe half a thought. But now that there was a sudden lull, the doctor, reinforced this time by Irma, managed to shift the twins by means of a mixture of deference and force to get them established by the fire. Steerpike, who had vanished from the room, now returned with another pot of coffee and 2 more cups. It was this sort of thing that pleased Irma, and she tilted her head on its neck and turned up the corners of her mouth to something approaching the coy. But when the coffee was passed to the twins, they did not want it. One, taking her cue from the other, decided that she or the other one, or possibly both or neither, did not want it. Would they have anything to drink? Cognac, sherry, brandy, a liqueur, cherry wine? They shook their heads profoundly. We only came for a moment, said Cora. Because we were passing, said Clarice. That's the only reason. But although they refused on those grounds to indulge in a drink of any sort, they gave no indication of being in a hurry to go, nor had they for a long time anything to say, but they were quite content to sit and stare at Steerpike. But after a long interval, halfway through which the doctor and his sister had given up all attempts to make conversation, Cora turned her face to Steerpike. Boy, she said, what are you here for? Yes, echoed Clarice, that's what we want to know. I want, said Steerpike, choosing his words, only your gracious patronage, your ladyships. Only your favor. The twins turned their faces toward each other, and then at the same moment they returned them to Steerpike. Say that again, said Cora. All of it, said Clarice. Only your gracious patronage, your ladyships. Only your favor. That is what I want. Well, we'll give it to you, said Clarice. But for the first time, the sisters were at variance for a moment. Not yet, said Cora. It's too soon, said Cora. It's too soon for that. Much too soon, agreed Clarice. It is not the time to give him any favor at all. What's his name? This was addressed to Steerpike. His name is Steerpike, was the youth's reply. Smart kid reading with these clearly insane and delusional nobility. I might get around to playing the Council. I think I only have the first episode, but I heard that was a fun game where you had to talk to psychotic nobles that had completely disconnected from any sort of morality, or indeed reality. Clarice leaned forward in her chair and whispered to Cora across the hearthrug. His name is Steerpike. Why not, said her sister flatly. It will do. Steerpike was, of course, alive with ideas and projects. These 2 half-witted women were a gift. That they should be the sisters of Lord Sepulchrave was was of tremendous strategic value. They would prove an advance on the Prunesquallers, if not intellectually at any rate socially. That at the moment was what mattered. And in any case, the lower the mentality of his employers, the more scope for his own projects. That one of them had said his name Steerpike would do had interested him. Did it imply that they wished to see more of him? That would simplify matters considerably. His old trick of shameless flattery seemed to him the best line to take at this critical stage. Later on, he would see, but it was another remark that had appealed to his opportunist sense even more keenly, and that it was a reference to Lady Groan. These ridiculous twins had apparently a grievance, and the object of it was the Countess. This, when examined further, might lead in many directions. Steerpike was beginning to enjoy himself in his own dry, bloodless way. Suddenly, in a zenithal flash, he remembered two tiny figures the size of Halma players, dressed in the same crude purple. Directly he had seen them enter the room, an echo was awakened somewhere in his subconscious, and although he had put it aside as irrelevant to the present requirements, it now came back with redoubled force, and he recalled where he had seen the two minute replicas of the twins. He had seen them across the great space of air, across a distance of towers and high walls. He had seen them upon the lateral trunk of a dead tree in the summer, a tree that grew out at right angles from a high windowless wall. He now realized why they had said, "Our tree that grows from the wall that is so much more important than anything Gertrude has." But then Clarice had added, "But she steals our birds." What did that imply? He had, of course, often watched the Countess from points of vantage with her birds or her white cats. That was something he must investigate further. Nothing must be let fall from his mind unless it were the first turned to and fro and proved to be useless. Steerpike bent forward, the lips of his fingers together. "Your ladyships," he said. "Are you enamored of the feathered tribe, their beaks, their feathers, and the way they fly?" "What?" said Cora. "Are you in love with birds, your ladyships?" repeated Steerpike, more simply. "What?" said Clarice. Steerpike hugged himself and sighed. If they could be as stupid as this, he could surely do anything he liked with them. "Birds," he said more likely. "Do you like them?" "What birds?" said Cora. "What do you know? What do you want to know for?" "We weren't talking about birds," Clarice said unexpectedly. "We hate them." "They're such silly things," Cora ended. "Silly and stupid. We hate them," said Clarice. Avis, you are undone, undone," came Bruin Squalor's voice. "Your day is over, O ye hordes of heaven. The treetops shall be emptied of their chorus, and only clouds," tapped Irma on the knee. Wait. "Emptied of the chorus, and only clouds ride over the blue heaven." Prudence Scarlet leaned forward and tapped Irma on the knee. "Pretty pleasing," he said, and showed her all his brilliant teeth together. "What do you think, my riotous one?" "Nonsense," said Irma, who was sitting on the couch with Steerpike, feeling as the hostess she had so far this evening had very little opportunity of exhibiting what she, and she alone, felt was her outstanding talent in that direction. She bent her dark glasses upon Cora and then upon Clarice, and tried to speak to them both at once. "Birds," she said, with something of an arch in her voice. "Birds depend, don't you think, my dear ladyships? I said birds depend a lot upon their eggs. Do you not agree with me? I said, do you not agree with me?" "We're going now," said Cora, getting up. "Yes, we've been here too long, much too long. We've got a lot of sewing to do. We sew beautifully, both of us." "I'm sure you do," said Steerpike. "May I have the privilege of appreciating your craft at some future date when it's convenient for you?" I think that's way too complicated." "We do embroidery as well." "Maybe not," said Cora, who has risen and had approached Steerpike. Clarice came up to her sister's side, and they both looked at him. "We do a lot of needlework, but nobody sees it. Nobody is as interested in us, you see. We only have 2 servants. We used..." "That's all," said Cora. "We have used hundreds when we were younger. Our father gave us hundreds of servants. We were of great consequence," volunteered her sister. "Yes, that's what it was that we were. Sepulchrave was always so dreamy and miserable, but he did play with us sometimes, so we did what we liked. But now he doesn't ever want to see us." "He thinks he's so wise," said Cora, "but he's no cleverer than we are." He's not as clever, said Clarice. Nor is Gertrude, they said almost at the same moment. She stole your birds, didn't she? Said Steerpike, winking at Prune Squalor. How did you know? They said, advancing on him a step further. Everyone knows, your ladyships. Everyone in the castle knows, replied Steerpike, winking this time at Irma. The twins held hands at once and drew close together. What Steerpike had said had sunk in and was making serious impression on them. They had thought it was only a private grievance that Gertrude had lured away their birds from their room of roots which they had taken so long preparing. But everyone knew. Everyone knew! They turned to leave the room, and the doctor opened his eyes, for he had almost fallen asleep with one elbow on the central table and his hand propped his head. He rose to his feet but could do nothing more elegant than crook a finger, for he was too tired. His sister stood beside him, creaking a little, and it was Steerpike who opened the door for them and offered to accompany them to their room. As they passed for them and offered to accompany... As they passed through the hall, they removed his cape from a hook. Flinging it over his shoulders with a flourish, he buttoned it at the neck. The cloak accentuated the highness of his shoulders, and he drew its folds about him, the spareness of his body. The Ons seemed to accept the fact that he was leaving the house with them, although they had not replied when he had asked their permission to escort them to their rooms. With an extraordinary gallantry, he shepherded them across the quadrangle. Everybody knows, you said. Cora's voice was so empty of feeling and yet so plaintive that he must have awakened a sympathetic response in anyone a more kindly heart than Steerpike's. That's what you said, replied Clarice. But what can we do? We can't do anything to show that we could do if only we had the power we haven't got, said Clarice lucidly. We used to have hundreds of servants. You shall have them back, said Steerpike. You shall have them all back. New ones, better ones, obedient ones. I shall arrange it. They shall work for you through me. Your floor of the castle shall be alive again. You shall be supreme. Give me the administration to handle your ladyships, and I will have them dancing to your tune. Whatever it ends, they'll dance to it. But what about Gertrude? Yes, what about Gertrude? Oh, they're supposed to be flat. But what about Gertrude? Yes, what about Gertrude? Came their flat voices. Leave everything to me. I will secure your rights for you. You are Lady Cora and Lady Clarice and Lady Cora. You must not forget that. No one must be allowed to forget it. Yes, that's what must happen, said Cora. Everyone must think of who we are, said Clarice. And never stop thinking about it, said Cora. Or we will use our power, said Clarice. Meanwhile, we'll take you to your rooms, dear ladies. You must trust me, and you must not tell anyone what we've said. Do you both understand? And we'll get our birds back from Gertrude. Steerpike took them by the elbows as they climbed the stairs. Lady Cora said, you must try to concentrate on what I am saying to you. If you pay attention to me, I will restore you to your places of eminence of Gormagast, from which Lady Gormagast has dethroned you. Yes. Yes. Their voices showed no animation, but Steerpike realized that only by what they said, not how they said it, could he judge whether their brains reacted to his probing. He also knew when to stop. In the fine art of deceit and personal advancement, as in any other calling, this was the hallmark of the master. He knew that when he reached the door, he would itch to get inside and see what sort of appointments they had and what on earth they meant by their room of roots. But he also knew to a nicety the time to slacken the rein. Such creatures as the Aunts, for all their slowness of intellect, had within them the grown blood which might at any moment, were a false stop be made, flare up and undo a month of strategy. So Steerpike left them at the door of their apartments and bowed almost to the ground. Then as he retired along the oak passage and was turning a corner to the left, he glanced back at the door where he had left the twins. They were still looking after him as motionless as a pair of waxen images. He would not visit them tomorrow, for it would do them good to spend the day of apprehension and silly discussion between themselves. In the evening, they would begin to get nervous and need consoling, but he would not knock at the door until the following morning. Meanwhile, he would pick up as much information as he could about them and their tendencies. Instead of crossing over to the doctor's house when he had reached the quadrangle, he decided to take a stroll across the lawns and perhaps around the terraces to the moat, for the sky had emptied itself of clouds and was glittering fiercely with 100,000 stars. And that is as much as my throat can take for the moment. We will continue the stream. I'm going to consider it, but I might, I think it would be a nice idea to switch to a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Maybe Friday.